Hello and welcome to this segment of the LGFA Access show. Next up, we've got an interview with a very special guest, and to do the questions, to deliver the questions, we're going to have the LG media head, F5 Penguin, the man. He's been a good guy, a good friend for me, I must say, Penguin. I guess I can call you a friend of
Are
all
we
the.
friends?
I think so. Yeah.
Yes.
I guess you guys could thank this show for existing from Penguin. Without him, none of this is possible. So he's a good man, and I put the show in his hands now for this part of the show.
I appreciate it, Bryson. Contrary to popular belief, I am actually kind of productive behind the scenes. I literally helped you cultivate this show. But again, I will say without you, there would be no show because apparently I don't do any shows. So mind that. Nevertheless, I am here, and I want to thank you all for joining us on the Access show here on the LGFA side of things, which I'm honored to be a part of. I've followed Bryson along his path from changing from being bad at one sport to now being bad at another, and that's fine, and I'm on board with that. Now, that said, a couple days ago, a week ago, however time works in your realm, there was an interesting thing that happened, and the interesting thing was Bryson reached out to another league and did a commentary with the head of that league, and I thought it was amazing. I thought it was fantastic, and we said, hey, we should probably talk to this person beyond just calling the game on the virtual field. So that said, I want to take this time to introduce somebody, and I don't see him over in the screen. I think you have to say his name 3 times to show up. So Bottles of Yingling, Bottles, everybody. If he rises from the grave, I think. There, it's amazing. How's that work? It's fantastic.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Mostly gentlemen, honestly.
Gentlemen.
It's one lady.
Lady and gentlemen.
Thanks for joining us, by the way, Bottles. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Well, having you is something that I've been wanting to do since I heard you on the live commentary. I thought it was fantastic. Can you give people on our side, on LeagueGaming.com, the LGFA, a little bit of background on who you are and where you come from, other than from the bottom of the frame?
My name is That Bottleface. I am the admin of one of the 3 admins of the FVP which is essentially ACL, AVL, if you've heard about that before. It's a similar group of 11v11. I'm sure most of you have heard of it in some sort of fashion. I'm a goalkeeper, as I'm sure a lot of you are aware. I am the goalkeeper for the US IFVPA team, which is something we can get into if you want. And I am one of the goalies in a league that doesn't have many of them. And I'm happy to be here because you guys are a passionate group of players who are going above and beyond what it means to do 11v11 FIFA, and it's a lot of fun.
So you led me to the perfect question here, and the first question started off is at least the question I asked Bryson when he told me that you were going to do a commentary and come on the show was, why the hell would you want to do that? Now, coming from my perspective, from the VHL to LGHL, there was a little bit of a rivalry there between the admins and the site staff, and people didn't really cross over on the hockey side of things. And I know FIFA, the football culture that may be, gets a little bit more chippy than that. So seeing a little bit of crossover is a little bit weird for some people. Why LG? Why now? Why this? Why 2 shows with Bryson, of all people, for that matter?
Besides being, well, let me answer it first. Besides being an admin, I also do a lot of the media work. So I've produced a lot of the videos, and I love doing the media aspect. And I've never been able to do a live commentary part, and I figured it'd be a lot of fun. I wanted to get my feet wet in the field, and so I took that as an opportunity to do the commentary with Bryson. And why LG? I like playing FIFA at night. I work a 9 to 5. When I come home, I want to just play. I started in FIFA. Some of us might remember that. And then went right to the league I'm in now. And I've never played LG. A lot of the players are new to me, and that's exciting. And I know a lot of the players from just both leagues. And so I figured if I got the time, I'll play some FIFA more.
When and how did you hear about the LGFA? Because it is something that is kind of a new baby that's beginning to finally walk on its own 2 feet. Where did you kind of get word from about us?
before I was an admin, I actively played in I tried to play in multiple leagues, and LG wasn't a foreign league to me. I've heard of it previously, along with other leagues, WSL, VP, whatever they're called. They're not as good as the LG or us, but it's just more. I need you to repeat the question. I'm sorry. I'm
How'd
getting.
you find out about us? Is kind of the
Oh,
important
I
thing.
mean,
Like, where did you hear that LGFA was a thing that you were interested in?
well, I knew it came back after being away for a little while, and a lot of people from my group was making the transition over at the same time because they also wanted more playing time. A few players who were starting to get established in the league and they wanted to try to, get their name made more, and they figured that would be a good opportunity. And I went just because I figured, it would be fun. It would be a new challenge.
So what's exciting? I got to ask, you are in both leagues. You can obviously compare and contrast. What do you find exciting about us compared to what you've experienced in other places?
I believe that these guys are incredibly passionate. Um, I like the community as a whole. It's a very welcoming community. It's a little different than the one I'm a part of in a few ways. But it's just like I said, a nice welcoming community that is advancing the pro club scene as a whole, and that's something that I want to play and help develop. Just because I like the idea in general, and I want to just make the scene improve as a whole.
Yeah, it's enlightening to hear that, and I kind of had that conversation off air before the show. Was that, hey, somebody in the gaming community cares about the community more than themselves, and that's something that you don't see very often. It's something that, one, it's why you're an admin. It's why people like us do this. But in a small subsect, you don't really see that. And when you have it, you're like, wow, we really need to talk to these people because, wow, what a concept. You care about other gamers that aren't necessarily your friends. They're just people that also share your passion in gaming, and that's something that should be embraced and encouraged instead of shunned and like, go away, you're not one of us. And that being said, the talent pool I'm sure you've seen over on your side and now over on LGFA. Can you speak on the differences in the talent pool and what you're seeing over here versus over there?
Yeah, of course. Unfortunately, due to my my Northeast Italian upbringing, I'm a very blunt person, so I'm just going to say this. There's a very large talent gap in certain positions for one, but as a whole, LG is a community that is, I believe, in its second season of kind of coming up. And what you're doing with the training camp is helping develop and let players who maybe wouldn't have had a chance before play in a competitive setting. That being said, the talent gap in ACL is a group of players who have been playing for a very long time, since FIFA. They've been doing this for 4 or 5 years now, and they've established themselves as top name, video game players in FIFA. And I think if there was a certain competition, I think it would be interesting to kind of see where that gap is. But I think LG is developing into a more competitive league every day.
It definitely is, and as Tris kind of grows the website, we get into other leagues that we can look and expand into finally, and Bryson has really taken the reins and run with it now. In the 6th season, by the way, for LGFA, which we're really proud of. You brought up an interesting point, and I don't know if Bryson shared it with you or not. That was the first thing I talked to him right after the GameCom, and I said, so who is he and what does he do? And he explained kind of your background, because I'm a little bit ignorant to that, and I apologize. But he kind of showed me what you did and how great things are over there, and I know a lot about your league. And I said, well, wouldn't it be amazing if we could somehow put something together where we take the best over there and the best over here and maybe do like a draft pool / all-star game of a mixed breed? And he's like, I don't think they'd be into it. But now you just alluded to that, so I got to know. Obviously, there's some crossover happening. You're coming over here. You're doing media on our website, which is an amazing thing. I think it's the greatest idea since sliced bread, having leagues work together. Brilliant. You're alluding to the point of having some sort of crossover game. Can you elaborate a little bit?
Well, when I said crossover game, it's not tough to get 11 players from one league and 11 players from another league and have a game. I think that just the way the communities are set up the way the structure of the websites are, it'd be tough to have a combined league with bidding and whatnot. It'd be interesting to see how the back end would work out. But I think if, for example, if you took your champion team from ACL and the champion team from LG and hadn't played each other, I'm sure you'd have a great game. My one concern would be if you had players who played for both leagues and might happen to be on the same team, because you get some of that. I'm not the only player for my league who plays in LG. You guys have a lot, and I like that idea. And I think that idea and having the two leagues play together in that type of game, I think that would be nice.
That's something I think you and Bryson need to definitely have a conversation about, because that was the light bulb in my brain. I heard you were coming to do media. I was like, that's so brilliant. We should probably help them out in a way. And with our media outreach and with our website outreach of so many members on the website we have, it would make sense to showcase something else that is different. Again, the community's coming together and kind of working together seems like a no-brainer. The only thing that concerned me was, outside of what you mentioned, was in my former experience as a new player to LGFA and as a new player to FIFA, I love the sport of soccer, but I very rarely played online. I encountered a lot of hostility and elitism from some members in the LGFA in its first growing stages. Bryson has kind of smoothed that patch out. Does that exist over there as well? You said the talent players are a little bit, the talent's a lot higher. So is that elitism there, or are there people willing to see that there are other leagues that can be embraced?
It's tough to answer, because there definitely is elitism in the league. Every league, I believe, is going to have its own elitism. Players who play potentially for their national team, or players who have won championships in that league, you're obviously going to get some sort of trash talk. And new players sometimes find it hard. The challenge is, and you'll thrive, is if you can get in the league new, take the hit, and work to becoming a great player. And if new players embrace that, that's how they they get on the path.
Definitely, and I kind of agree with you there. It's something that I left for a couple of seasons just because it got a little bit crazy, and now I'm kind of entering back into it this season again, which is enjoyable to me. The game plays, to me, FIFA 16 is kind of a remarkable game in and of itself, so it's kind of more of an incentive to play. So I gotta ask you something that one of your most accomplished moments as being an admin on a remarkably impressive and successful website. What's a defining moment for you in your time there?
In terms of like an admin work, or just as a player?
Both. Let's do both. I like that. You set yourself up for that one.
I did. The admin. So because we have a very vocal group of players, there is sometimes a quick turnaround in admins. It can be very grinding, and it's a lot of work. I'm sure Bryson can attest. It's a lot of work running a league. That's why there's 3 of us. It's impressive that Bryson does a lot of it by himself. But to get back on track, I think one of my proudest one was just going from deputy to admin after some people had left, and getting some sort of embracement from the community. It's tough. You never know kind of how you're going to be, how you're going to be perceived, and you have to make rulings against people that could go against them, obviously negatively. But it comes with the job. My most proudest player moment, I'm going to have to say, was winning the Copa America with the USA team against our bitter rivals, Mexico. It was the first time I was actually on the national team, and it was an honor, and it was a blast. And the last game, if you haven't seen it, I've made a video of it. I can post it somewhere. But it was an honor just being able to win a championship for the U.S. that hadn't happened in a while. It's been a few seasons since they've won any type of trophy, so it felt good.
Yeah, you mentioned that, and it's something that's interesting within the FIFA community is the rivalry runs strong. When you're, especially over there, when you're with a team, you're really with that team for a long time, and it's something that you take pride in. So I find it fascinating that is your point, because that just lends proof to the theory that the rivalries do run deep and they do last a long time. I want to ask you one last question here, because I know we could talk forever, but I'm always of the opinion to have them leave them wanting more is kind of my MO. What do you look to do here? So you're in your season here. What do you expect to get out of your season here with LGFA?
So this is my second season in LGFA. Okay. The first one was last season when Man U won the title, and it was a hell of a run. It was a great time, and no one knew who I was. I was kind of under the radar, and it was really nice. I didn't go for 13 mil. Thanks, guys.
That's good.
I went for one, like a buck five or whatever, and we did great. And I got Golden Glove, and it was great. So the expectations now, I am almost, I'm up to lose, going for that high. And Man U is kind of stuttering out of the gates, but we picked it up yesterday. We won 6-0 against Arsenal. So I kind of just want to relax, have a great have a great season. But I just kind of wanted to have a good time. I just want to play some FIFA and relax. That's my MO. That's all I want to do.
Work 9 to 5, want to play FIFA. That's a man I can get along with. Are you on Twitter there, Bottle?
I made a Twitter for my character on FIFA. I feel like a loser saying that.
I won't judge you. I don't judge. I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to laugh.
I don't have a Twitter. I mean, I do. It's my real name. It's I think it's NJ Aquino. I don't know what my Twitter handle is. I don't use it. You
probably know that.
I don't use it. Come on. It's Twitter's Facebook status is over and over again. That's